Welcome to Monday morning. My name is KWAME, OWUSO, DANSO. I trust you had a very wonderful weekend. I did. I slept a lot. Yeah, Charlie. I sleep. Even this morning, I was still sleeping. But welcome aboard, and thank you very kindly for choosing Pan-African Television. This morning, there are a plethora of issues that we've tabled for our conversation, which issues I do know that you are very interested in, and therefore you would want to share your views with us when we start the show. At least 18 killed in suspected suicide attacks in Nigeria again. Nyaho Tamaklo warns of Kenya-like protests in Ghana over hardships. Blaze sues Ablakwa Okujeto for 20 million. Daily Guide newspaper, and control pricing cement bill meets stiff opposition. Searchlight newspaper. And I think that these are very important topics that we have to discuss here this morning. I've been joined in the studios by Uncle Alex Sebefia. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning to my co-panelists and also to our cherished viewers.
Very well indeed. Protocol.
Mr. KOD.
How are you?
I'm terrific.
Hey, sir, in this economy, you are terrific.
The man says he's terrific. Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
The man is wearing white. You say,
no, because he's taller than the Kufuor, I'm sure.
The man says he's terrific.
So,
Bolusco.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
I trust you're well.
Ah, very well.
I heard you on Alaji and Alaji.
Fantastic.
Belching dangerous smokes from your lips.
Really?
Serious.
You were speaking truth to the conscience of the nation.
You know, a year ago, if you had done this combination, we would have attacked you. It's two against one.
Yeah,
but this time, it's definitely individual.
It's a movement.
The movement is a movement.
All right. Today is 1st July.
Yes, it's a Republic Day.
Republic Day. Yeah. I think we need to take a minute or two to talk about it, the significance of it. And, Akufo-Addo says we can't celebrate it anymore.
Yes, it's so serious.
I found that to be very troubling, particularly because it was in 1960, 1st July, that is when we actually became a republic.
Yes.
And so that should have been very significant beyond, celebrating the Independence Day.
Sure. So
let's touch on it briefly and, look at the significance of it and how our democracy can be strengthened by reason of the sacrifices which have been made or which were made by our forebears, particularly in the struggle for independence and in the struggle for, to become a republican state. So look, let me start with you.
Yeah, Kwame, good morning, and good morning to my co-panelists. It's rather unfortunate that such a significant day is lost under this administration. I mean, if you ask the school children today, most of them do not even know that today is a Republic Day. I can tell you, because of the fact that we have taken away the holiday nature of it and pushed it to 4th of August. Interestingly, on the 4th of August, Ghanaians do not also know the significance of that day. So it shows how our politics, the inconsistency in our politics, and also the inconsistency in our history, that 1st July that we have known in the past, that represented the day that we all cherished. A political party comes and say, oh, because we have been taken out of the equation, we will just take the holiday from it and then push it to another day. It's rather unfortunate. I was one of those that disagree with this position when President Akufo-Addo and the government was making this attempt. But Ghanaians must not forget where we have come from. It marks a milestone in our history, and we must always cherish it. We became a republic on this day, and interestingly, coming from the house, no one seemed to cherish the day. We are losing it out. Yeah. So let's go back on the drawing board. Yeah. Let's remember those that have sacrificed for this country, where they took us from. And then if you believe that you were part of the struggle, celebrate it, enjoy it. The mere fact that we mentioned, say, Kwame was a founder, or Kwame led the Republican struggle, does not mean Kwame was the only one that fought. We must get that one straight.
Yeah.
There will definitely be people. The Ghanaian is the ultimate beneficiary of all this. But we cannot mention every Ghanaian's name. You want to tell me that the independence struggle of this country that we always mention, the big six, they were the only people that fought for all of us? It cannot be. The fishermen, the cocoa farmers, the students, and all those that were engaged or involved in the struggle, they remain a significant part of our history. But you can't have a list that will contain every Ghanaian. So one must fund for it to represent the entirety of the people of this country. So for me, it's needless. We must go back. Alan's administration, when it comes, must go back on this and reverse it immediately. It should be one of the first things that immediately takes over the country. He brings back Republican Day celebration. It is a matter of urgency.
Yeah. Protocol, what is significant on this day is that, you know, on 1st July 1960, that is when we officially severed our ties with our colonial masters. And also, the first president of the Republic of Ghana was sworn in as president of the Republic of Ghana. And, you know, that day also marked a significant time in the history of Ghana, particularly because on the sub-region, or in the sub-region, Ghana became the first country to ever become a republic state. Now, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, having knowledge of all of these historical, knowledge, really, decided that he was still going to go ahead and make nonsense of it. What do you have to say in relation to this?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kiudi. If you look at the Republic Day, it has been described as a commemorative day. Commemorative in the sense that the citizens of Ghana needed to sit back, take a deeper introspection, and try to, as it were, recall some of the historical facts that has been given to us in terms of the independence struggle and all manner of issues that happened that even at the end of the day culminated into Ghana gaining its independence. So for me, this is a critical moment. I think that politicians and civil society organizations, you know, within Ghana should celebrate this in a very modest way. But let us not also lose sight of the fact that issues of this nature comes with some form of passion to such an extent that people would want to, as it were, make political gains out of this. So for me, that would not be my my mantra, because yes, you would hear so many renditions coming from other opposition members, and which seems to suggest that we ought to go into a political football in terms of who contributed what and who contributed what not. That for me is what I wouldn't want to go, to go into, because at the end of the day, like my brother said, a myriad of people contributed towards Ghana gradually gaining independence and, for that matter, becoming a republic. Of course, for me, if you were to look at the history of Ghana very well, what is his name? John Mensah Saba, for me, has actually even played a very critical role, even at a point where we needed to celebrate him. Because so for me, regardless of which particular person or whether they were the Big Six or Big Seven or whatever it is, Ghana is a republic today. And we needed to take a stock as to how far we have come in this particular perspective. To what extent has successive governments been able to translate those particular issues that we were clamoring on, we were clamoring for purposes of the fact that the British needed to cede Ghana for us to also be able to control ourselves, to control our resources, etc., etc. Now, the bigger question that people ought to be answering is, to what extent has this particular leadership, starting from His Excellency Kwame Nkrumah up to the present government, what is the little contributions that each and every Ghanaian in terms of the presidency or in terms of the governance structure has been able to contribute to Ghana? That for me is very critical, rather than just, as it were, going into the, tangentials. So for me, that is very critical. So let's take a look at what is currently happening, or what actually other successive government did. Yes, Nkrumah started issues relating to transforming the economy, etc., etc., ensuring that there was some level of development in terms of infrastructure. Fantastic. Other government came and contributed their part. the PNDC government, NDC government came, we all saw certain things that happened. The MPP government came, and I'm referring to Kufuor government. He was also able to do something. What about Atta Mills? Atta Mills also did something. What about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama? He did something. Nana Akufo-Addo did something, and he's still doing. That, for me, is a critical issue that I think that we must be pondering our minds to, rather than trying to score political, points out of the fact that this ought to have become a holiday. This one shouldn't be a holiday. This should be. I mean, that for me, I think that it is not necessary. Yeah. Critically,
because you see, we describe it as a day of reflection, yes, right?
Yes.
And if you want to reflect, even as an individual, you must have a very serene atmosphere by yourself alone and reflecting on your strides. Now, the reason for the celebration of 1960 as a holiday was so that we could reflect on the strides that we've made politically in this country. And that is even beyond who did what, right? And so if you are saying that the celebration of the holiday is not really an important aspect of our history, I find that a little troubling. And that we should rather focus on who has done what, who has done this. I find that a little troubling.
Maybe I do not understand you, but you are putting words into my mouth.
So then
use the word
be as clear, because I heard you use the word that for you that is not important. What is important?
No,
is that we
use the word not important, to against people who try to put some kind of political slur into the entire.
It has become
argument.
political. It has
because
become
at the end
political.
Of the day,
it has become political. Sir.
Somebody would want to say that this person was right, and I also want to say that this other person was right, because it is not for nothing that we all studied political history, especially of this country. So we know who contributed what and who didn't contribute. We all know that there was a collaborative effort coming from successive people. That is how come I've even mentioned John Mensah Saba, who even predates those particular independence and all that, because of, you remember Aborigines Rights Protection Society. So you see that if you are to look at the history of Ghana, somebody would also canvass the fact that no, let us not zero it down to only the UGCC. Let's go backwards and look at the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, etc., etc. So for me, what I'm trying to say is that in order that we're able to avoid the necessary political banter in terms of days, let us take a stock as to the kind of developments that the country has been able to achieve because of the fact that we have become a republic. That, for me, I think is critical.
If you don't know where you are coming from, you would never know where you are
exactly
going. And that is why it is significant that we do not poo-poo the relevance of specific individuals who played specific roles in the attainment of independence and being a Republican state.
Yes. So if the conversation was...
Because the thing is also that we'd never really had any political altercations as to who did what. When I was growing up, there was never a discussion about who founded Ghana. There was never a conversation about what the role J.B. Dankwa played in the attainment of independence. There was never that conversation. Okay? All the conversations that we were having was that, yes, Kwame Nkrumah was the one who ultimately attained independence for the Republic of Ghana. Ultimately, right? But that did not also discount the fact that there were some other key actors and players in the struggle who assisted, right, in the attainment of independence for the Republic of Ghana. There was never that conversation. This conversation about who did what and who did what started under Akufo-Addo's regime. That the question is that we need to question the motive behind it. The motive behind Nana Akufo-Addo. Yeah, Nana Akufo-Addo sparking an unwanted fire within our political discourse. So that attention and focus, instead of being on development, like you're saying, is now shifted to discussing issues which have long been settled. That is the point I'm trying to advance to you.
So yes, I get your drift, but the truth of the matter is that, it is not the Akufo-Addo government or regime that has actually introduced this particular debate. And I was taken aback when you wanted to make that kind of allusion. I think that it is unfair attribution.
But who started it?
Oh, please.
Who started it?
I beg you. If you look at the political commentaries that actually surround even the independence of Ghana, Ghana becoming a republic and all that, the political atmosphere and the kind of conversations that goes on is much more had to do with the fact that two opposing political parties are fighting for some kind of a turf war. Depending on the political party that is in power at a particular point in time. For example, you see that the NDC would want to canvass for, and some other, CPP elements would push the agenda of His Excellency Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and Nicodemously, excuse my word, want to, as it were, water down the contribution of other members of the UGCC. So sometimes these are some of the things that actually even predates His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Nana Akufo-Addo actually took that particular decision in terms of policy to try to see how best we can segregate some, please. And yes, some of these kind of historical facts that nobody can come and change. So that, yes, for example, let's use this particular 1st of July as a commemorative holiday to take a stock as to what Ghana has been able to achieve. That is one. And then some other public holidays. It's not a holiday. Please, I'm coming. Yes. I'm not saying it's a holiday. You know that it's not a holiday. Is it not?
Why is it not a holiday now?
If you allow me, you would not understand my case.
You are not going to have the whole of today to be allowing you to be talking about it.
And I will also allow you to.
Let's I think that your argument has been advanced.
Yes, so
we understand where.
So I think that yes.
Uncle Alex, let's come to you.
Thank you so much. Once again, good morning to all. I want to look at it holistically. History is there for us to learn from, not to make mistakes of the future. It's also there to make us understand our identity, who we are, what we are, where we have come from. And so there are certain dates or historical events that we must take cognizance of within the sphere of our independence. So there's no argument on 6th March. That was our Independence Day. I find why there's even an issue, therefore, on Republic Day. Republic Day is of itself very significant for the reasons you've already outlined. We first had now our cutting of ties completely with our colonial masters. Nothing could be more significant except the Independence Day itself than that day. So to make it a non-holiday, for me, it's a non-starter. It should be dealt with as such. Then I even go further. You see, Martyrs' Day, June 4th, 31st. The other cool days. But these 3 dates are significant for me because they center around a certain time in our lives which should not be forgotten. In fact, people have forgotten June 4th and 31st, either because they are as young as my colleague here, even as young as my brother there. And so you read about it in textbooks or from stories, but you never lived it. And living an experience is different from reading about it. And if you are not able to read about it or you are not reminded of it, the tendency is you don't forget because you never knew. If you don't know, you don't know. And we don't mark these days. Look, what is happening in the country today, June 4th, 31st, should be major things in our discourse, because it would advise people that certain things you do, no matter whether you think something is right or wrong, it brings a certain reaction. And that reaction comes from behavior patterns of we the politicians. So I'm not saying make them holidays, but you must have proper lectures on those days. Those that want to celebrate Martyrs' Day, they should have a lecture. I think it's not been made an holiday, but it should be a national thing, that which I notice is done, excuse me, by I think the Ghana Bar Association and very good. It is good that the NDC continues to celebrate or commemorate. I will use the word celebrate, commemorate the June 4th as well as 31st, so that it's a constant reminder to all of us, especially the young ones who are coming, who don't understand what led. Another significant issue in terms of historical context, and it doesn't hinge on a particular date, it comes with 79, but then it should allow us to reflect on the Achampong era. You see, Achampong did a lot of good things.
Very, very
you see, and we haven't given him the credit that he deserves for what he tried to do. And we went through a certain phase, and he became an unfortunate victim of the circumstances. What is ironic about Achampong is that he was part of a court martial in the Caribbean and ensured that people were not executed. He was actually anti-executions. And unfortunately for us, he ended up being a victim of circumstance and was executed. But when you think of OFY and the kind of vision he had for us as patriots, you have to give him some credit. All that is lost in the mire. So while we are studying about the Renaissance and the Crusades, which used to be part of our curriculum, it is time that we began to factor in certain aspects in our literature. There is a gentleman who has written a book on Achampong, it's a very good book, because he's very objective. He doesn't say that the era was not devoid of certain difficulties. He mentions Kalabule and all that. But he puts Achampong in a different light. You see him not as a dictator running about doing the exigencies of the era and the time overwhelmed him to a certain extent, and politics took over, and that is where we are. But if we don't do this historical analysis as we go, we'll be lost and we'll start making the same mistakes that others have made. That's why it's important that we look at it. And Republic Day is part of our history. And Nana Addo has only one position. Kwame Nkrumah should not be the person to be given credit for our independence. That is his. And I'm not saying that he will take his mouth and say all his actions demonstrate that he has not, even though he accepts that Kwame Nkrumah plays a role, he does not see why we should make him the most pivotal person. And when you ask people, they say, but we have renovated the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum and this and that. Why? Me, I take it that you have no choice. Kwame Nkrumah is not Ghana's person anymore.
Yeah.
He's not even Africa's person anymore.
A global icon.
He's a global icon. Leave him at your own peril. You cannot. And he is the man of the moment. That is your Kwame Nkrumah. So whether we go up or you go down, you cannot change that fact. And so shall it remain for time immemorial. So let's be clear. It appears, and I know you disagree, that Nana Addo has no issue with Kwame Nkrumah and this, but all his actions seem to do that. Why? The big six that they talk about, look, why didn't they use the six that were with Kwame Nkrumah at the podium when we declared independence? Kesli Hayford, Koboduse, all of them were on the podium. That for me is the big six. It's not these ones that they have put up, because people on that big six that we talk about actually went to the British and said, we are not ready for independence. How can they be given credit for our independence? They said we are not ready. They took play, no. They didn't sit here and were shouting, no. After they had been defeated in 3 referendums and 3 votes, and now British were saying that they have to give us independence, and Kwame Nkrumah is the one. They took plane and went all the way to British Parliament and said, hey, look, Buzia and Co, that, and his cohorts, that we are not ready for independence. Then when we get the independence, you want us to give you credit. The independence we are enjoying today, they are not part of it all. Let me, as for the struggle, they are not, this particular independence, Kwame Nkrumah's independence. Let me be clear in my mind, with me from where I'm coming. They were part of a struggle. But the independence we are enjoying now, no. If not, they should add Yasantua, they should add Grant, what's his name, Power Grant. They should, all of them should be on that and make it big 100, not big 6. You get where I'm coming from. That is my position. So, this Republic Day, when we come to power, and I think if you ask CPP, you ask the movement, you ask NDC, all of us have the same view. Republic Day must be returned. And this Founders Day issue that they are talking about, please.
Well, thank you very much, Uncle Alex. You're still watching the News Preview segment here on Pan-African Television with me, KWAME, OWUSO, DANSO. May I remind you that we're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So for the very many viewers we have across the continent, if you want to share your views with us, you can easily do so via those platforms. And we will read the messages here for you. Let's move on and discuss our next topic. At least 18 killed in suspected suicide attacks in Nigeria. I don't know if I have time to discuss that. Okay, well, there's a few minutes and then we'll move on. At least 18 people have been killed and 30 injured in a series of deadly blasts in Nigeria, thought to have been carried out by female suicide bombers. One of the bombings is reported to have killed 6 people and injured others at a wedding ceremony on Saturday in the northeastern Borno state. The state's emergency management agency said the coordinated attacks targeted a wedding, the victim's subsequent funeral, and a hospital in town of Goza. No one has claimed responsibility for the attacks, but the Nigeria centered Islamic State West Africa province ISWAP insurgents have previously claimed deadly bombings in Borno. In the last 4 months, attackers have twice targeted people through suicide and improvised explosive devices in Borno State. Borno State has been at the center of a 15-year insurgency by Boko Haram Islamist militants, which has displaced more than 2 million people and killed more than 40,000. Boko Haram gained international notoriety in 2014 when it kidnapped more than 270 schoolgirls from the town of Chibok, also in Borno State. Authorities said 18 deaths had been confirmed on Saturday, a toll that included children, adults, and pregnant women. Some local media have reported a much higher toll. Nigeria's Vanguard and this day newspaper said at least 30 had been killed in the blast. A curfew has been imposed by the military. Goza was seized by Boko Haram in 2014 and taken back by the Nigerian forces in 2015, but the group has since continued to carry out attacks and kidnappings near the town. Last November, 20 people were killed by Boko Haram insurgents while returning from a funeral service in neighboring Yobe State. The attack happened a day after militants killed 17 people in a raid in Gurukayeya village after villagers refused to pay a so-called harvest tax, police said. Protocol.
That's very dicey, and if you look at issues relating to suicide bombing and all that, and of course for that matter Nigeria come across as a big brother that has that particular checkered history. And in fact, it's unfortunate that this particular phenomenon is more or less gaining momentum across Africa and for that matter Nigeria. But one thing that is very critical for us to avert our minds to when it comes to issues regarding suicide bombing, Islamic attacks, and any other issues that had to do with, pillaging populations and then trying to destroy all manner of people, I mean, within human populations. These are very unthinkable situations that actually has come to reality. For me, anytime I look at or I read the news or I watch TV and there is this particular images, gory images that and reports that suggest, you know, suicide bombing, I get worried, because I think I mean, seeing myself, I don't fancy myself thinking, regardless of whatever situation that I would find myself, would allow myself to be used this way. But for me, yes, people would come and make some kind of justifications as to some possible reasons why certain people would want to become animal in terms of that particular activity. So for me, it should raise concerns within the African, you know, leadership bloc to see how best they are able to stem this particular tide. Because you remember, Africa is indeed an existential threat in terms of Boko Haram and some form of distractions and all that. So for me, this is the time that African Union, I mean, leadership should be, I mean, should try to set up certain collaborative works to ensure that these kinds of inhumane activities are nipped in the bud. Because to go about killing people is itself very, very traumatizing. So I actually doesn't get the psyche, or to, as it were, imagine people wanting to take other people's life by taking bullets into themselves, and then to just go into human populations and then try to kill innocent people. That has been a very important issue that always, you know, try to prick my mind. But some people have gone very far, especially to use religion, and for that matter, either Islamic religion or even Christianity religion, to perpetrate this kind of heinous crime against humanity. And that, for me, is very unfortunate, especially when you read the news and there is this particular attributions of people engaging in that particular activity, and they attach themselves to be either Muslims or Christians, and they want the world to look at them as people of religious background. They are not religious. Nobody in his sensible mind would come out to do such a thing and want to say that, you know, when he or she slept, I mean, he had a dream and God instructed him to go and do those particular things. There is that thing, I mean, within even the two scriptures, I'm referring to the Bible and the Holy Quran, God has not instructed anybody to do this. So when you see any, you know, a man with a beard, very long beard, coming to be reading certain Quranic verses and attributing certain issues and saying that based on this and this and that verses, we have carried out this, or we are responsible for this, such people ought to be looked out for and try, and I mean, they should try to get in touch with them and see how best they can contain these particular people. Otherwise, the world is not actually going to be a peaceful place that Michael Jackson and other musicians are canvassing.
Thank you very much, Protocol, for that submission. Let me say a special good morning to those of us who are watching in Kenya. I've seen that there are some messages coming from Kenya. I'm happy that you are watching this morning. We're going to definitely be discussing the Kenya situation. So you may want to share the gospel with your colleagues in Kenya and tell them that we are about to discuss the issue in Kenya. So they should stay glued to Pan-African television. And thank you very much. Lekki, I will read your message, but thank you very much for watching us from Kenya. Uncle Alex.
Well, it's becoming a weekly topic. This issue of Nigeria and Boko Haram. What concerned me was, it's been a while, whether because people don't talk about it, but it's been a while since I've heard of suicide bombers. And across the world, not just. So the resurgence of the methodology used, which is suicide bombers, is of concern. Because it's one thing for armed raiders to go into a village and raid a village, but for females to go into a wedding and blast themselves and kill people along with them. We are entering into a new phase of this unfortunate insurgents. And as I said before, any gains that some people see are being made by any government is bad business for some others. And they must find a way of sending back a message that the battle still goes on unabated. And that is unfortunate. This is a business, or has business connotations. Religion has been used for that purpose. The stability of Nigeria is in question. Even under a military ruler, or a quasi-military ruler, namely Buhari, who had a military background, let me put it that way, he found difficulties. And so it was important, or is important, that the sub-region has to attack it holistically. If you remember last time I was saying that, look, if insurgents can move into the northern part of Cameroon and get solace, or move into Niger and get solace, nobody is able to attack them. So if you don't have a what's it called, regional-based approach, where when they move, they dealt with here. If they move, so you're more or less like boxing them in. They just hit and run, guerrilla tactics. And the moment they see a lot of pressure coming from Nigeria, they move elsewhere. When they go into those countries, they don't misbehave. They stay quiet because they know that they need their peace. So it's a very, very, very dicey situation. It is something that globally everybody should be interested in and see. The stability of the whole ECOWAS sub-region is already not in the best place, let me put it that way. And democracy is under threat. Let's be clear about it. Democracy is under threat. So we all have to come together to find a way to ensure, and our leadership must look at certain things. You realize you are going to talk about Kenya. When you look at what is happening, part of the problems they have in Kenya, and most politicians have across the world, especially in Africa, is lifestyle of politicians. And it's become a big issue in Kenya. People are living, a few are living extravagant lifestyles and telling everybody else to tighten their belt. It won't work anymore.
Well, we don't even have the belt.
The belt, no, you have the belt, but now it has started touching your spinal cord. You are tying your spinal cord. You are not tying your waist. There's no waist. So it's a problem. It's a huge problem. And it fits into the narrative. So it then gives people the ability to convince somebody that, look, your reward is in heaven. You are going to get 70 times 70 what? Wives. So if you go and kill people with a suicide bomb, it's good enough. Indoctrination comes when you have a certain level of poverty, a certain level of despondency, etc. So lessons to be learned, but they must find a way to curb the issues going on there.
Very well, thank you very much. You're still watching the News Preview segment here on Pan-African Television, and we are discussing Nigeria and the issues emanating from the northern part of Nigeria thereof. Now, so look, I watched a movie where the movie sort of depicted what is happening in Nigeria, the northern part of Nigeria, and the involvement of politicians in that enterprise. Now, I received a message from Damien, which sort of gives credence to, that movie that I watched. And Damien is in Nigeria. So Damien says, the mindset behind Boko Haram is not Islamic. I am based in the north, precisely Kaduna State, Nigeria. The political alkalies, godfathers, should be answering those illuminating questions. He says that even late General Sani Abacha, in one of his quotes, said, quote, if insurgency lasts over 24 hours, then the government has a hand in it, unquote. I rest my case. Say hello to my Ghanaian brothers and sisters. We love you all. I'll see you soon when I'm in Ghana. So this is Damien, and Damien is reinforcing this long-held view that all these insurgents that we're experiencing, all these so-called, people practicing Islamicism in a negative way, right, using that to create confusion and mayhem for the purposes of advancing their own beliefs, is actually sponsored by politicians and people who actually want to create commotion for their own interests. It is not at variance with the movie I watched. I've forgotten the title, but this is a movie that was really, really properly done. Where there was one politician who wanted to be the president, and the president said no, he's going to contest again. I think there was some arrangement. The guy was from the north, the president I think was from the south or so, and he was the vice president, and then the president had promised that he was going for only one term. Then the president later held a meeting and said no, he's going to contest again. And then the guy flipped and he said, hey, I will make this country ungovernable. And that is when he used those so-called Boko Haram people to create confusion and things like that. But clearly, it finds expression in the message which has been sent by Damien. What do you have to say, Solo?
I mean, I agree with you, and I agree with Damien. He has captured what is happening in Nigeria with a simple analogy. First of all, these insurgents, they use guns. The guns that they use, Kwame, is not $1, $2. It's very expensive. The ammunitions or the bullets in there is very expensive. So if they are not being sponsored, these are supposed to be poor people. Is that the case? The insurgents are poor people. So how are they able to afford these sophisticated accoutrements? Clearly, people with political power are behind them. And they are behind them because they know that when they make places ungovernable, it affects the image of the government, so that they can also capitalize on that and they come to power. Look, Buhari used it to depose Jonathan, because the North was very, very volatile. And he said he was a former general, he could deal with the issues. You understand? So you do me, I do you. The very strategy that you use, someone will also use against you tomorrow. And you see, you have about 36 states in Nigeria. Why is it that always it seems to be the northern part of Nigeria, or the Bono state, that has this problem? Because people have also allowed those with Islamic faith, they have allowed their religion to be used for that purpose. And until people begin to speak against it, speak up strongly, they will continue to use it. They are not practicing their Islamic faith. This is nothing to do with Islam, but they have seen the lacuna there. That when we use it, you're okay. To the extent that people declare jihad without any reason. You get my point? So we would do it and use your religion as a cover to continue our activism. It's not good, and let me say that it's not only synonymous with Nigeria, it cuts across the entire African continent. Ghana, as we speak now.
Burkina Faso, that's how it started.
No, Burkina.
Political investment. And
our own Boko.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Boko is not a safe place now. You understand? So people are using it as a tool. And I always tell you that when we call for dialogue or negotiation, do they call for the poor people to come on the negotiating table? Is it not those coming from that part of the country that ought to know, that are called on to the negotiating table? And what do they negotiate when they go on the negotiating table? To their benefit, selfish interest. You understand? So it's unfortunate. They say the world does not sympathize with the weak and the poor. If it is that the people want to get the government to do something, they should go and attack the government. After all, Tinubu is in Lagos or is in Abuja. Go there and attack him so that we know you mean business. Not these poor, innocent souls who don't have what to even eat. They don't have what to eat. Then you go and kill them. And now women are the ones being used. Hey, Nigeria have advanced though. You are using women now.
All right. So thank you very much. Let me read a few messages and then we come to Ghana, where Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo has been admonishing government to do the right thing. Otherwise, a Kenya-like protest may occur soon by reason of the hardships that we're facing. And let me just read a message from He says his name is Joel Blay. Good morning to you and your panelists. I really like the submission of Honorable Alex Sebefia. Producer Ita were at Polo Ground with Kwame Nkrumah. Therefore, they should be in the Big Six. Joel Blay, Western Regional Head of Honorable Alex Sebefia's team.
I have no team.
We have to looking at you with a key.
No, I beg you. I have no team.
This one says, my name is Torik Ulu, Secretary of Vibrant NDC Youth, Tamale. NDC is winning the elections by regards to Honorable Alex Sebefia, Honorable Mutala, and Honorable Suhini. Please give my number to Honorable Alex. All right, I'll do so. Good morning to you and everyone. But the way some journalists and NDC so-called politicians are disgracing our democracy, what is the importance of discussing 1st July and Mr. Blay cause issue? You are all not serious and focused on this country. Nana Abwaji Timudehene, feed their thanks. Good morning. But I want the NPP man to be bold and tell you that 1st July is not important to Ghanaians. You people should be serious a little. Nana Abwaji Timudehene, feed him. Thank you. Nana Abwaji, I have read your message, my brother. Good morning to you, KOD, and good morning to your panelists. Ghana's biggest nemesis is Buzia, Dankwa, and Dombo traditions disciples. And until all Ghanaians come together to defeat them and push them into obscurity, we can never have true independence and true democracy and be able to position Ghana on a path of true sustainable development. J.S. Fuseni from Tamale sent in this message. Well, you've sent me a video. It says, Kwame, listen to this. You will appreciate why we are where we are. Good morning, Uncle Alex and Brother Solo from the Shegelege movement man, Ronald Maya or Mia. And this one is from Asanko in Santa Maria. Asanko says, all what they know is plagiarizing programs of their political opponents. They made a lot of noise about the so-called plans for food and jobs. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll still read it, which has failed miserably because they lack the requisite ideas for implementation. The project was introduced by NDC and named it Food Security and Emergency Preparedness Program, only for those clueless masters of plagiarism to come and rename it as Plans for Food and Jobs. Asanko from Santa Maria sent in this one. Thank you, Asanko, for sending that message. Where is the... Okay, all right. This one says, great discussion. When are we having another Leaky? I don't know what you mean, from Kenya. All right, Leaky from Kenya. All right, thank you very much, very much, Leaky, for your message. And I told you, keep telling your friends in Kenya that we're about to discuss your own matters. So, yeah. Now, so I'm sure you've been following events in Kenya, and you have seen people throng the streets of Kenya in protest against what they describe as unseen hardships, particularly after William Ruto took over power from Uhuru Kenyatta. They were expecting some form of, freer, relaxed, flexible economic outlook by reason of the promises which were made by William Ruto, especially to the youth. And so, having given him the opportunity and experiencing him over for this period, they've realized that over a period of time, they've realized that William Ruto is not the man that he says he is. He introduced new taxes. Well, he wanted to introduce new taxes through the finance bill, and which taxes would have definitely affected the betting that the young people are engaged in, particularly because of the economic quagmire which they find themselves in. And so they saw that to be an avenue for generating some monies for themselves, etc. William Ruto decided to tax it, and also to tax some other very essential commodities for their survival, particularly condo and things like that. Basic things that the people needed. He wanted them taxed. Now the people obviously did not agree to that, and they thronged the streets in thousands, to demonstrate their displeasures. They didn't just demonstrate on the streets; they actually walked into Parliament for that to be significant, because you know that Parliament is where bills are passed into laws, and so they walked there just to let Parliament know that we are not going to allow you to pass unnecessary laws for us. Now, subsequent to that, Ruto came out and issued a statement rescinding, ostensibly rescinding the decision that the state had made relative to the taxes and the passage of the finance bill, etc. Now, the youth in Kenya are saying that they are not going to relent. I mean, even though you've rescinded, it means that you don't really care about our plights. And so they still went, you know, the next day they went onto the streets again to protest. Now, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo has been a critic of this administration. Even before Nana Danko Akufo-Addo ascended to the high office, he thought that Nana Akufo-Addo didn't have the wherewithal to govern this country, and that Nana Akufo-Addo is one of the leaders who always lives in ivory towers and thinks that, you know, he can superintend over the affairs of this nation. He is saying that by reason of what we're going through as a nation, there's the possibility that we may see or experience Kenya-like demonstration. What do you have to say in relation to what he has said?
Let me say that
I don't know whether my preamble is okay for you.
It's okay, it's okay. You have already said it all for me. As for you, I know you. Let me say that it's an undeniable fact that Ghana made a mistake in 2017 and made another mistake in 2020 in retaining President Akufo-Addo. I mean, if you look at what is happening in the country, he had no business whatsoever putting himself up for the position of presidency in this country. No clarity in thought, no vision, no hope for the people of this country. But you see, you remember the Fix the Movement country. That was Ghana's version of this whole Kenyan situation. But the moment the political entrepreneurs entered into the fray, they destroyed everything. Because the Ghanaian was rising up on that day. Now people don't have to be meeting in their circles to plan an activity. They did it on social media. Kenyan situation was that everything on social media. And what is making the Kenyan situation succeed is that they don't have any leader. No one is claiming leadership. All of us are moving. So it becomes so difficult for the president. I heard some civil society organizations trying very hard to create the impression that they are the ones leading. The people say, hey, we don't know you. You are not leading. So if you go and negotiate it, you are doing it at your own peril. Now, what has happened in Kenya also draws our minds to politics of deception. Our politicians and how we always want to deceive the masses. Ruto came to power at the back of the fact that he claimed he was a hustler. And he was one of them. But you see, and that is why I am bringing in the idea of deception. And why the youth of today must also take part of the blame. When Ruto was telling you that he was a hustler, he was the then vice president of the country. For Christ's sake, how can he be a hustler when he was the vice president of the country? My Kenyans, I have a lot of friends in Kenya. And I remember two of them, they running to the election, say, oh, Ruto was coming to say, I asked them, hey, but this guy says he's a hustler, he's the vice president. He owns a lot of real estate in Kenya, he has insurance companies, he has banks, he is rich, filthy rich. And that has been his modus operandi. If you check his political history, today he's with Jubilee, tomorrow he's Democratic Alliance, the next day he's here. He is jumping from one political party to the other. And always go with this mantra that he's a hustler. And he's violent in nature. You remember in 2007, between Kibaki and is it Arab Moi or so, he was the brain behind. That was the more reason why ICC, International Court, cited him, that they wanted to prosecute him. So he swindled the minds of Kenyans. But I love the comeback. He said, you deceived us, but we will correct or we will right the wrongs of yesterday. Now you promised that you will make our lives better. We want it today. And you know, they are focused. The youth of Kenya, they are very focused. They know bills are passed by parliamentarians. We will not go to the military barracks. We will not go to the water and sewage company in Kenya. We will not go to the airport. We will go to where they are doing the diabolics, which is parliament. 349 parliamentarians, only 28 stood up against this bill. Only 28. So it means the bill enjoyed massive, almost unanimous endorsement. Now the 28, what is surprising is that a visually impaired lady who could not see physically saw what was ahead and kicked against it. You see, what Ruto is doing, and I understand NPP is also adopting the same consultant that aided this on seriousness in Kenya. Ruto's situation, or Ruto's version, is our own vice president. Ruto was able to connive with Uhuru Kenyatta for Kenyatta to behave as though he was fighting with him, went and joined Raila Odinga, and I wonder what Raila Odinga was thinking. That all of a sudden Ruto will have a problem with his boss. They pushed Uhuru to send all his baggage to attach Raila Odinga for him to lose that election. Now they are parties behind the scenes. Our version of the vice president, who is the flag bearer of the MPP, what has he been doing in this country? Yigu Meso campaign, that's what they are doing. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Everything, it wasn't me.
Shaggy.
It was, when you finish playing that song for Ghanaians to listen. Wasn't you that bring you love it? Wasn't me. You understand? Everything that has taken place under this administration.
I like it. They should go back again.
Everything. It wasn't you that brought 11. Wasn't me. That makes funny say 11 wasn't him. Wasn't you that brought taxes? Wasn't me. Was a Kufuadu. Everything under this administration wasn't me. What are we doing in this country? So, the people of Kenya, they are telling Ghanaians that watch your flag, the flag bearer of the MPP critically and well. Because he is only pretending and behaving as Ruto, who engaged in, it wasn't me campaign, and won the elections. Yigu Miso campaign. And Akufo-Addo too has accepted that everything Yigu Miso. You see, it's very interesting. Look, as far back as March of 2011, listen to what Gabi Asaro-Ochidako said. As far back as 2011, though, this is Gabi Ochidako speaking. Why would the youth of Africa be sufficiently angry to rise up and throw out foolish and corrupt leaders when we have become so used to being trampled upon and or being visited by mediocrity of the leaders that we accept as okay until we get angry? This is Gabi Asaro-Ochidako speaking in 2011. Look, every indicator in Kenya is better than what is happening in Ghana. If you take their inflation, Kenya is doing about 5% inflation. Ghana is doing 23.1%. If you take their policy rate, Kenya is doing 13%. We are doing 29%. If you take their debt to GDP, Kenya is doing 68. We are doing 88. So, indeed, Ghana should have been leading this crusade way ahead of Kenya. In terms of infrastructure, Ghana comes nowhere near Kenya. In fact, when you are in Nairobi or Mombasa, you feel like you are in where? Las Vegas or Miami.
Oh yeah, Kenya is beautiful.
So beautiful. Yet the people are fighting. Look, their unemployment rate is 6%. Ours is 14.74%. But the people say, look, we deserve better than this. Now, what they are doing.
People were involved in the demonstration. It wasn't just the normal street boys who.
No.
Sons of politicians, business owners, young entrepreneurs.
They have seen where the country is going. Now, I know what they are going. They say they are going to do now, and that is what Ghanaians must do. They say they won't talk. Now they are going to identify all the politicians and the civil servants.
Fantastic.
Your properties.
Fantastic.
Then when they come to KWAME DANSO, they know your salary.
Yeah.
They will publish it.
Good.
Publish your properties.
Yes.
And then let you come and explain. Wherever you go, they will chase you and they will be ringing the bell. Tifo. You Nankasa, you will feel the heat in the country. That's what they are going to do.
That's smart.
How can we live in a country when we know our politicians, these NPP young guys that we are calling them couples, these criminally minded people, thieves, Today they are owning mansions when we know their salaries, and we sit on concern. And you have pastors, you have military men, you have soldiers, you have policemen saluting them, saluting thieves. I don't respect any of them, because you have come to suck on the blood of innocent Ghanaians. Pure thievery. Monies that could have been used to develop this country is in your pocket. And you want me to worship you? They call themselves couples. They are thieves. And these monies do not last. Let me tell you, I have never seen anybody that stolen a nation's money and survive with it. The moment you leave power, it finishes or runs into thin air. So I love what is happening in Kenya. And I think it should be an eye-opener. I've seen Tanzanians also warming up. I've seen Ugandans also beginning to shake themselves. It happened with the Arab Spring. When it started from Tunisia, immediately went into Egypt, and the whole region started shaking up. Maybe from there it will get to West Africa. But you see, with the West African one, it could be dangerous. And that is why we must begin to revise our news, the sort of promises, the sort of lifestyles. If we are going to do lifestyle audit in this country, when he says, oh, go and bring evidence. Hey, yesterday you didn't have chamber hall. You have been in power less than 10 years. We know your salary. Assuming you did not touch your salary, are you able to put up a structure in the airport? How much is even the land? And we know that in government we don't do business. But you have all these things happening. And because of that, you know, nobody wants to be a teacher now. All the young ones at the university, go to the look. When we were at the university, that was when we started TESCO. We had to struggle to even get people to join TESCO and TAME. People were not interested. But now go to the universities, almost half are in fact, what is so funny about it is that all those that are in TESCO are also in TAME. Already they have learned the Abu Jinapo and John Jinapo style. You think they are fools? Two brothers now, wife and husband and wife. One is in NDC, one is in MPP. I don't trust such people in my life. Me, I'm in MPP, my wife is NDC. Would you trust that person when I sleep with my wife on the same bed? So that's what the students are doing. Two brothers. You will go and take T and take TESCO, because if NPP does not come, MPP will come. And that is why I'm calling on Ghanaians to reject the MPP and NDC in all certain terms and bring the movement, independent candidate, to resolve the problems in this country. We cannot continue, Kwame. We cannot continue. Look, a young man said he was taking part in the demonstration because he was only left with 50 shillings. And that it was better for him to die and make a statement than to live with that 50 shillings. He is even lucky to have 50 shillings. People have woke up this morning and cry here. With nothing, and on top of that, the bills are there. Water bill, electricity bill, school fees, and everything. How do you expect such person to survive? I know we don't have any welfare system in this country. So when you are hungry and you are dying, you are dying. Kwame, we are living in a very difficult part. And on top of it, we have a president whose only interest is for chiefs to stand up and greet him. I saw, yes, that's right. You see, when the president begins to command respect, it means you have lost it. Respect is earned. The chiefs that are sitting there don't know that they don't know they have to stand up, but they believe you don't deserve it. I just passed by the Canadian embassy, your place here, as you are. Today at the accordion is there. They are praying that these people leave this country. So you have to watch the vice president carefully and the promises he's giving to the people. To you, the voters, if you will not analyze them and you let them get away with every promise because you want to hear good news in your ears, you will be doing yourself a great disservice. So if Nyao Tamaklo is saying Ghana is next, Ghana, we have already been there. They fixed the movement country. They were ready to take over the country. The national security didn't have any clue about it because they have no clue about social media and its operations. But these political entrepreneurs that fronted the whole movement spoiled everything. They use it for their own gains. And that is why it seems like the Ghanaian youth is not interested in fighting. Who wants to fight more than the Ghanaian youth? Ruto. You tax, you say you claim to be a Christian and believe in the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer says, give us our daily bread. And you are taxing bread 16%. You want to take their daily bread. Give us our daily bread, 25% on kuku. How do you expect this youth to survive? And also, you see, the older generation must understand the generational mix. KWAME, this Gen Z generation we have, we call them the fried rice generation.
Entitled generation.
Everything is fast. Then they are not interested in your ifs and buts. Once you say they behave like women. If you are a man and you are calling a lady and you think by promising more, you woo the woman to your side, the lady to your side. This is the Gen Z. Yes, the woman will come, you will get the lady, but the lady will make sure that you do whatever you promise. And that is why you see guys that this lady, she's too troublesome. She's troublesome. When you were telling her that you could buy her Benz, for which reason the lady decided to follow you. You think if you are saying you could buy her Kobe and she followed you, you will not be okay. Promise what you can deliver. The Gen Z generation, when you promise them, they want you to deliver. As for them, everything must be delivered. And you know, that is why those that are in charge of Ministry of Works and Housing, something is developing. See the young ones that are finishing our universities and polytechnics, they are not interested in living in shanty areas.
No.
They want apartments.
Yeah.
How as a country are we going to deal with that? So the problems are there. We must have politicians that are ready to sit down, analyze the situation, and come up with pragmatic solutions. Not come and promise and get away with it, and at the end you go and get communicators to come and embellish your nonsense. It's not going to happen. Election 2024 will be around to alert the people to vote massively for the movement for change under the able leadership of Alan John Kojo Chemati.
Thank you very much. So
deal with this then competent people.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me, people. Everything is wasn't me.
I like that. I'll use that as my ringing tone.
It wasn't me.
It don't be me bringing levy. It wasn't me.
Everything was
me. Don't be the chairman of management
team. It wasn't me.
I like that. Good morning to you, KO. The Ghanaians are experiencing hardships under this government, but Mahama and NDC can never be an option. It is better we give Bawumia the chance to change the situation. Xavier Mafi Kumasi Vota region.
He hasn't woken up yet.
Please kindly give my number to Honorable Alex privately. Okay, my name is Remigius Tenza. I think I got the name right or wrong. I don't know. Good morning to you, KWAME. Wow. I always get impressed with Solo's bite. Gabi from Oxygen City. Oh. Good morning to Pan-African TV and all pensioners, especially 2020 pensioners who gave their best to Ghana. However, this government is killing pensioners silently. Example, the president ordered a release of 55.4 million on 1st May 2024 as a top-up for the 2020 pensioners. But up to today, no shadow of it. Wahabu Musa in Wale. Oh, Charlie. Shouldn't be doing that to our old folks. Dear KWAME, morning. I have sent you a WhatsApp message. Could you please tell Mr. Alex Sebefia I would like to speak to him? My numbers are this. Okay, I am Selom, ACM in UJ, University of Ghana. All right. Good morning to you, KWAME. That man is MPP man. He is defending the government to win favor from Nana Akufo-Addo to get political appointment. He should go back and read landmarks of world history and active history of Ghana. He doesn't know history. From Tola in Tamale. This one also says, devil, foolish. This guy only sends messages to you to sort somebody. Okay. Somebody said, I want Asida by Kim Paluta. You know I love that song, so you are requesting for it. No problem. We'll play Asida for you. Good morning to you, KWAME. Randolph Dauphin, watching from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Thank you for moderating this very educative program. Concerning the demonstration in Kenya, it is good to hold demonstrations and hold your leaders accountable. But is it right for them to destroy the country? No responsible government will sit and watch the country being destroyed by so-called demonstrators. I agree with you, but what the leaders are doing, are they not also destroying the country? Well, good morning to you and your partner, especially Uncle Alex. I am Lukman Nat from Tamale. We, the youth, are boiling small, and will soon explode. Life is not easy for the ordinary Ghanaian. while this group of people who call themselves MPP are looting and sharing whatever they get hold of. So haven't you noticed the state capture in Tamale? They bought every land in Tamale. Anyone?
They were showing me when I went to Tamale on the 31st of December. They said this one belongs to Farouk. This one belongs to this one. They showed me all of them. Taxi drivers, so I couldn't believe it.
But we'll be going to Tamale. We are going to do a Pan-African Television is going to do a documentary on.
I will follow. Yeah. Call me, I'll be there.
My love for Comrade Solo is unmeasurable. Wasn't me. Then he started laughing. I'm Dako Solomon. I think that NDC should use that as a campaign strategy. Wasn't me. Or maybe movement. Wasn't me. Movement. Should I go to protocol and come to... Okay, protocol. You are sitting in the middle. Let's enjoy you.
I think that I have witnessed a very unfair kind of commentary that actually went on even at a point where you also even appeared to join the chorus in terms of...
Wasn't me.
I mean, I think that, let me say this. No matter how incurable malady of political cynicism that you want to put on as a tag on His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he would always come out unblemished and clean. A very powerful person who is going to take the mantle of leadership of this country.
Okay.
Come 2025. Exactly. Now, I think that you have brought in the issue of the Kenyan situation. And then my brother tried to draw parallels with that, I mean, in terms of the Kenyan situation, and wanting to, as it were, want it to reflect as though it was, I mean, the Ghanaian situation is even much worse than that. And then, you know, people have, some segment of the Ghanaian population seems to come out to be calling for Armageddon, and for that matter, you know, people are not angry enough and all that. You see, we have grown as a democracy. It is not the matter of, you know, to come here and start speaking 19s to the dozen. That makes you look like you are an appreciable person that people must, you know, rally behind. But the truth of the matter is that governance is a process. The fact of the matter is that, and when he said that, I mean, it was a mistake even since 2016 that Ghanaians made a mistake voting for the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, and then also make another subsequent mistake in 2020, etc., etc. And I was very, very much surprised. Honorable Solomon, just some few years ago, just some few months ago, was an MPP person. Of course, politicians sometimes have special aids and all that. You see, sometimes it's difficult to make a serious analysis of the butterfly. Is that okay? Because we don't want to preempt certain things to muddy waters. But when you realize or you see signs of people who are more or less collaborators trying to run down the government and the party, sometimes it makes other people very much, furious. So for me, I think that I need to be very much measured in trying to see how, because at the end of the day, as a political party, we need everybody on board to be able to drum home the kind of agenda that you and I sat down, wrote in terms of our manifesto, and sold to the Ghanaian people, that gave us the opportunity to come to power since 2016. Is that okay? No, but the issue is that...
What is infuriating you? What does this that infuriates you? So that at least let's have an intellectual conversation.
To be very honest with you,
no. So
when you don't have any evidence and you directly accuse people as thieves, this and that, you haven't even able to measure the worth of that person. Perhaps you have just heard people saying that so and so have acquired this particular property, and for that matter, he has summarily becomes a thief. So if you use those words, please,
okay,
please,
I see.
please.
So that's the measure.
No, I mean, please. It's not that. Honestly speaking, I wouldn't come sit here and start pouring invectives on you. Neither, I mean, so I also equally would deem it right that yes, you don't also come here and denigrate other people that doesn't even have the opportunity of a rebuttal. The truth of the matter is that yes, you have spoken. You have actually, moved out of the New Patriotic Party. That is for you. You have decided to do that. You are entitled to that. But the truth of the matter is that all these kinds of things that you are saying about the NPP, and for that matter, the government of today, you have in one way or the other was a beneficiary of that. Of that particular, if you want to say we were creating, looting and sharing, your boss and yourself, you also were a beneficiaries of those particular things. Are you not? So you see the hypocrisy.
I've not been a beneficiary.
Claudia, please, have you seen the hypocrisy? So for me, I really don't want to. Now, truth be told, let's come to look at the very issue that you have tabled. That for me is very critical. Of course, if you look at what is happening in Kenya, is indeed a very worrying spectacle that ought not to have that ought not to have come aboard. But because of certain tactical issues that the president and for that matter the government were not able to do, I think that resulted in that particular issue. So you see, if you look at whatever happened during, because we wanted to draw parallels, when the government of Ghana wanted to introduce the e-levy, the government of Ghana actually held town hall meetings and were able to talk to the Ghanaian people that this was what we wanted to do, to raise money through this particular tax regime so that we are able to do so. Because given the circumstances or the exigencies of the time, we needed that particular policy to be able to support the economy. Yes, we face a Herculean tax. Even at the floor of Parliament. The minority came out and seriously opposed to that particular bill. Fantastic arrangement in terms of political arrangement. That for me, I think that it was fantastic because we are building up as a nation. So for me, if we are drawing parallels, there was a conversation that engages civil society organizations and the citizens of Ghana. We were able to explain to them why we wanted to introduce the e-levy. Yes, some people also exercise their inalienable right to also oppose to that. But at the end of the day, wisdom actually won the day and e-levy got passed. Remember when the finance minister was saying that we were not going to the IMF today, we were not going. The fact of the matter is that based on the calculations or the projections that they made, we thought that, because see, every country nobody takes pride in going to the outside world for purposes of borrowing. Every country, any person who wants to govern or any individual who is a politician in this country would advocate for the fact that to what extent are we able to cut our umbilical cord with the Bretton Woods institutions. So, and NPP is no exception. That is how come that those particular statements were made. So at the end of the day, indeed it backfired. But the truth of the matter is that when you make your projections and people come to sabotage it, and possibly you are not able to meet your domestic target, you would definitely have to go to the outside world to go to the outside market to solicit funding and other forms of loans to be able to cover up the deficit that the backlog of deficit that you would need to raise in order that you are able to run the country. So for me, when you are going to draw those particular parallels, yes, because it is the taxation, that particular tax policy or tax regime that has caused Kenya to have actually even gone to their legislative assembly, which is called Parliament, to try to ransack things. It was unfortunate. And you also wanted to you liken Ruto to the vice president and all that, and you make a particular suggestion. You made a statement that suggested that there was some kind of a people that they consulted, and you learning that same consultant was, actually consulted for Ghana. And sometimes I don't know where you are getting your facts from, but why would you just want to to paint somebody black if trying so hard to want to poo-poo the vice president, the president, and all that? That for me, you can say that it falls within your right to say that. But for me, I think that the Ghanaian situation is different. Why am I saying so? My friend, my brother, for example, as we speak now, take free senior high school out of the equation and look at what would have been the situation if free senior high school was not implemented. When we came into office, assuming that we have not implemented free senior high school, look at the excruciating burden that we would have been putting the parents of this particular case into. So politics or democracy is more or less trying to solve a particular problem, because you cannot solve every problem at a point in time. There is definitely going to be teething problems, even if you roll out certain policies and programs. But to what extent are you able to marshal resources in order to be able to solve those particular problems is what is very critical. As we speak, and you are a witness to the fact that, courtesy the finance minister and the sort of policies that has been put in place, the Ghanaian economy, as at now, the GDP is growing, steadily. I think 4.7%. We are recovering. It's a process. Yes, there was a problem that came and, as it were, what you call sweep all some of the benefits that the country was choking. Unfortunately, when we say these things, the collaborators and the NDC people don't want to listen to this. But that is the reality. So take it or not. The reality is that there was a problem that came to derail the growth trajectory.
What was the problem?
Of course, that is what we all knew.
What?
Were we not struck by COVID-19? Was it?
How many years ago?
So you see.
How many years? Let me grant you.
Do you
that. How
also
many years
remember?
ago? You see, the same way you said you are, hold on. The same way you said you are angry. That's the same way every one of us is angry.
Yes.
So when you are speaking to issues,
yes,
speak to issues. Which issues would identify with the Ghanaian people? I can understand.
Yes.
You are doing the bidding of your party. It's okay. I can understand that. But don't think that those of us who are listening are foolish.
Oh no.
It's not about whether or not you are angry.
You don't seem to understand me. Please
proceed.
So let me come.
To deal with.
So let me come. You asked that particular question. What was the period of the COVID-19? Yes. So let's just say that at least it was within a maximum of 1 year. Now, remember, when the president had to make that particular strong decision, he came and addressed the nation, and he told the nation that I will not allow my citizens to die, but I will take whatever means possible to save the lives of Ghanaians. But it was
how much have you borrowed? I'm asking questions.
Please.
How much have you borrowed?
Please.
How much?
So see, when you do this thing to me, you are fair to me.
I'm asking a question.
Come on, Mark.
How much have you borrowed?
This is not fair to me. Solomon. But you see, allow me to talk.
You are almost ending. So
that's why you see, all the segment is even sleeping.
Proceed.
So yes, those particular issues was a reality. So for me, what is very critical for now is indeed how are we going to solve this particular hydra-headed problems, to use Uncle Kwesi Pratt's usual cliche, hydra-headed problems that confront the good people of Ghana. The New Patriotic Party is taking steps to correct that. Even as we speak, the president directed the finance minister to galvanize in excess of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis in order that they are able to, as it were, pay some of the pensioners that are almost every time. I think yes, not pensioners. Yes, exactly. Yes. So for me, it's a positive. Yes, it's a positive move. These are
1.5. You know that even
no,
Root
but I'm only saying
Finance is old. Even their customers alone is 4.5 over in excess of 4.5 million.
There is
They
always
are very 1.5.
no, there is always
Billion. You are
yes,
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 billion for starters.
I'm saying that even for Gold Coast Farm Management alone, it's 4.5
I'm saying
billion.
that for starters. Do you understand? So you see, so for me,
Okay.
whatever is going on is a gradual process, and we think that at the end of the day, we are going to roll back the economy of Ghana on a sound footing.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Protocol. Protocol, who is angry and you know. Good morning, KOD and Co. I'm just asking, who invited Protocol here? He sounds so annoying. No, that's his opinion. Tell him that we Ghanaians aren't stupid. Why? From your uncle, from your Elmina uncle Jojo. Hey, Uncle Joe. This one day, you are not joking at all. Uncle Alex, just give it 2 minutes. Let me read a few messages. Hey, the person I sent a message, I'm not reading, so he's actually calling me. Good morning to you, Pan African TV and your panelists. The guy representing or talking and trying to defend the new patriotic party is even suffering to do so. He is doomed. Our so-called president is a special child and now a special adult and became president. Professional teachers will understand this. It's so sad. If Bawumia is honest and has integrity, he wouldn't have even tried to stand for presidency in the face of this gross and grand failure of his administration. Uncle Steve this morning says, good morning to you. Please, this goes to the MPP man. He should note that the MPP forced the e-levy down on the Ghanaians, citizens of Ghana, sorry. It was not totally agreed as he's talking. As he's talking about, they refused to listen as the citizens were saying it will fail. He should also note that COVID-19 is over and we are still having its tax on citizens. They should wait. December 7 is closed. Steven from Tema sent in this one. This one says, good morning to you, KOD. The young people man is only speaking grammar, but the truth is that Bawumia just wants to muscle mice and cover up the sins of Nana. He will not even get 30% of votes in this country. I promise you that. This one also says, good morning to you. Nana Boadi Tubudekene, watching you from Hwidium. But I want to ask Mr. Nyahu, is it because of old age or greed? That is why he speaks like that. Okay. Your father is old. From Maxwell Tamaklo at Sogahope. Mr. Solomon, I would have trusted you if you had started this movement earlier before Alan lost the MPP primaries. And for all this while, where were you and Honorable Alan till 90th hour? Since when did you discover MPP governance as bad? When you were the core members of the government that brought Ghana this far. Have this at the back of your mind. Very smart people are carefully observing your crafty web of intellectual biases, making it look, if you are not part, you better go back to the MPP. If Alan had not lost, you will never come this far. We in the NDC know you guys very, very well.
So correct that Alan never lost any election in the MPP.
It's as true as
where problems override the policy, why should the MPP activists be talking about relieving parents of a burden when they are coughing out 7,000 out of 9,000 Ghana cedis to put their wards back in school? Uncle Alex, the way is your front, the floor is yours. Proceed.
I am always worried when things are going wrong and people are quiet. I like it when there's noise, because that one, people are outing their feelings. But what I've noticed is that things have gone into a stage where people have stopped complaining. They are just going through the motions. It's we on these stats and this thing, we'll be shouting this. When you speak the best, you say, it's hard. It's that. That is not good for our country. Because if you meet somebody who is going to fight with you, I'll beat you, you are this. No, you have a chance. If the person says, he's just looking at you, don't enter the fight, because the first punch will floor you. You won't even see it coming. Because he's not shouting. He's just looking at you. He's assessing you. He's weighing you. So quiet or calm is not always a sign that things have been left or people have forgotten. We on this air are doing government a favor because we are shouting and making noise about their pain. If we two all decide that we will be quiet, we cannot cope with what will come into this country. That's why I said that there are some things that you need to know about in our history for you to make an informed decision as to whether what you are doing is right or wrong. We have a government who always wants to push to the limits. I'll do is we are in government, we will do. We are in government, we will do. Many a time they have hit the wall and they haven't learnt. E11, you have given us a good rendition of Shaggy's song. I want him to go and actually do a proper rendition. Let us all be playing. Yes, E11, we told you, don't do. You haven't realized at the time what we were expecting. We told you that go to the IMF earlier because your gains will be better. You didn't do. Every advice you are giving, you wouldn't do. We told you there are issues which you should deal with at a certain point. Don't do free SHS, good policy. Wait for 2 years, then implement it in the 3rd year, so that there will be money and you'll have time to finish the infrastructure and you have time to train teachers so that there will be no double track. You didn't listen. So we have a raft of students who have suffered this whole issue of double track. Okay. And they will tell and say, they went to school. Really? The worst thing in life is an educated fool. That is sometimes the worst thing in life. So let's be careful what we are churning out under the guise of they are educated. You must look at quantity, but you must also look at quality. You don't separate the two. So free SHS, which was in our constitution, which MPP boycotted when we were doing the constitution, let us be clear on that. You didn't take part in the Consultative Assembly. The Consultative Assembly, MPP as a political party at the time, or the group of people who were there, boycotted the Consultative Assembly. It was dealt with by the so-called supporters of PNDC, doctors. They said they won't come and sit with butchers, hairdressers. They are not part of this. That's the history of our country. And the people who put that, the Consultative Assembly people who put it together for us to now have this 19, put in free SHS. But they put in there gradually. They didn't say at the bank, we credit MPP, you have come big bang, fine. But it wasn't implemented properly. And you yourself have admitted. And you yourself have admitted that there's a need for some review. That is there, it's on record. So, as far as I'm concerned, we are not in a good place as a country. Everything is going wrong. The only thing different between Kenya and Ghana, the biggest difference is that Ghana has not had its elections. And people know that it's only 6 months, now 5 months and a week. That is what has kept people at bay. Because people are expecting a change.
Oh, yes. Transformational.
That is why the town is calm. Because there's an opportunity to bring about change. If not, we would have reached Kenya. And Kenya don't have that opportunity. They have just finished their elections less than a year ago. Or about that. So there is no hope on the horizon. So they won't take it. Because they cannot see themselves suffering this for that length of time. But our people know that, 7th of December, change is coming. We are all going to vote. And then some people are sitting down somewhere, planning on how to rig election. They are not planning on how to win legitimately. They are planning on how to rig elections as they did in 2020. Kennedy Ajipong asked a question when he was under. Do you know how you won your election? MPP. You didn't say it. Your own Kennedy Ajipong said it. Do you know how you people won election? What is the implication of that? We all know that that election was not free and fair. But we are Democrats, we've been to court. They have said theirs, we've heard it. Don't try it. 2024 election. Let it be. You have chosen a bad flag bearer, and you are on the verge of choosing another bad running mate to add on to it. You know, look, every party goes through its upheavals.
Yes.
So those things are, but when I look at the records of both the people that are coming, there's no hiding place. Look, whatever you say about Prof. Nana Jinopoku-Agyemang, you cannot touch her integrity. It's completely, totally intact. And she has been a minister of state before in one of the most difficult ministries, Ministry of Education. If nothing at all, her integrity. So John Mahama's choice gives the Ghanaians the hope that at least we have somebody who is straight. This one you are bringing, my brother Napo. Oh, we are coming. We are waiting for him to be. We are waiting for that. But we saw pictures, handshake and things. It's a process, isn't it? The process is that they will now take it to
the National Council.
The National Council for the National Council to approve.
I see.
Why? Isn't that not the same thing they did and Alan had enough and left? The National Council and all those things that they are doing, they are only rubber stamping what Nana do as approved. That's all they do. So me, as they have brought picture and Napo is there, I know that Napo is coming. I'll be very surprised if they have the wisdom to remove him. But let him come. We are also waiting. So I'm clear in my mind that each passing day, the decisions they are making, look, Bawumia should never have come. As I have been saying, now we have 2 opposition candidates in election. Because if you have a vice president of a political party saying that, oh, when I come, I'll have 50 ministers, and your current president has 80 something. When I come, I will sign the LGBTQ bill because I'm against. And your president says, I won't sign. It means that you are not running on the record of your government that you are vice president on. You have thrown him out of the bus. And you are now saying that all the things that he did are not correct. When I come, I will do. Why? You are head of economic management team. You are a person who was at the Bank of Ghana and told us that we don't need to borrow. There's enough money in Ghana. You said it yourself. And you are now telling us that taxes at the port are too high. You are now telling us that, and you are going to find a way, you are going to bring them down. And you are the head of the economic management team who was at the end. So why haven't you all this time, Bawumia, where have you been? Are you a passenger? The vice president that people are fighting for every day, that you are even having problems to pick one because of the internal fights, that is a position that doesn't carry any weight. When you were purposely brought because of economics, you told your own party that this economic whiskey, when he comes, all our problems, and now we are here, and you are saying that as my brother Solo is saying, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Look, we are only grateful to God for the patience of Ghanaians. That I'm grateful to God, because all the macroeconomic indicators of Kenya are sometimes a third, sometimes 50% minimum of what we have. And yet, they are on the streets fighting their people because they put tax on bread and corn. We have got taxes we don't even know about. As of this COVID Russian, let me give advice to all of us coming into governance. When you decide to go into governance, know this: you are coming to solve problem. there is no government that comes and is plain sailing. When we had DANSO, it wasn't global. It was Ghana. Created over the years by successive governments. I never heard John Mahama shouting anywhere, hey, you know, this particular government did this, so I'm going to see a man. He said, we have DANSO, I'll fix it. That was how he approached it. But you people, small no Russia and Ukraine, small no COVID. And I'm saying to myself that, this was a global phenomenon, both of them. Why is your own worse than everybody else? It is because you mismanaged the economy and you ask the question, you overborrowed. That is why we are suffering more than, admit it. No. Russia and Ukraine, COVID. Why? Every country in West Africa, in the world, had COVID problems. Well, we are waiting for everything to come out. You know, because it is becoming, it's not washing. And I'm not against my brother based on the arguments that he wants to be, but it's not washing. We are taking your own statements that you have made. Look at the thing you read about what Gabi said.
Yes.
Just, you know, what they said in the past, they have done. Look, our God, you must understand him. Our ways are not his ways, and his time is not our time. They are exposing MPP in a way that even me myself, how do they say, I can't believe that is happening. They are totally and completely fit.
Uncle Alex,
Akpe Melio, Meso Akpe.
Yo. Good morning, Pan African Television and team. MPP parliamentary MPs do not register their real estate properties because the money they steal from the coffers to purchase these properties can't be traced, and there is no residential number address on the property. This one was sent from the UK, but I don't know. He didn't add his name. I think maybe it was deliberate. Good morning to KWAME and the panelists. Look at we, the people of Ghana. Look, we, the people of Ghana, have given this MPP government too much room to even cut e-levy cake and go ahead and force it down our throat, deliberately subjecting us to excruciating hardship. And we are still containing them. That's why their shameless communicators can muster the courage to attempt defending their bunch of corrupt government officials at the peril of our democracy and hard-earned reputation as a nation. So I don't blame them. They should continue. Dixon sent this one in from Aflao. Maxwell Tamaklo says, since digitalization is the finest way of projecting Ghana, I please want the MPP rep educate us on how and who audited the diabolic e-levy tax and revenue generated so far. Who is auditing, sorry. Atenga Kwame says, Keodi, good morning to you. Please, keep eyes blocked around so you can quench your temper before someone will collapse you or get an ambulance with pain, raises high blood pressure, BP. From Babatinga in Babatinga, thank you, Kwame. I can say Keodi, give one to you all. In fact, I need your contact. I want to give you an information about the land issues in Tamale. I don't want to put it in public. I beg. Let me have it. Extend my greetings to your dear wife. I will give you my number. I will give you, because I want information. I'm coming to Tamale with Solo. We are coming. All the state lands which have been stolen, we are coming to expose all of them. I'm telling you. In fact, I will even see my brother protocol to take me to some of the places. Anyway, great moderation, sir. I admire great moderation, sir. I admire your objectiveness, Nene Senior from Somania. Thank you, Nene Senior from Somania, for your message. Uncle Jojo, this morning, the people look so uncomfortable. Hey, Uncle Jojo, this morning you are on my brother protocol. Please don't do that. Protocol is a very humble guy. Life is too short and power is ephemeral. I have seen it in lions. I have seen it in old people. Everybody who lives long enough will be very vulnerable at some point. Therefore, let us be humble. Never forget that we will leave this stage one day, no matter how long you live. So those in power today misbehaving should be very careful. Their days will by all means end one day. From James K. Sarba. Good morning to you, Kwame. As a Ghanaian, when I see the MPP young men defending the roads in Ghana today under the watch of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, I get surprised. Has he forgotten that Nanado recently went to Ukraine to ask for agricultural aid from Asamoah Nkrumah Sefiri also? Asamoah, question for the gods. Good morning. Can you explain what that young man said? Matadu about nothing. Isn't he wasting the already limited time? Hey, please, that's his time. You can't tell that to him, my brother. Good morning to you. I can't just stop admiring Solo whenever he appears on your show with his just and true talk. But tell the MPP man to stop pretending. We knew them very, very well before they assumed power in 2017. Now they own mansions, 2, 3, 4, and more cars. How much are their salaries? How much? And he says what? They are stealing, looting, and robbing. People vex. Maybe protocol gets so. You never know. Anyway, good morning to you, Kwame. Suddenly, Joy FM is publishing details about how SNIT sells its asset, trying to make it look competitive and transparent. However, the fact remains that, but for a whistleblower who blew the cover, the entire public wouldn't know that SNIT was selling so many hotels to one person in a quiet deal just after the leadership of SNIT was changed to the son of Osafo Mafo, the same son that was to be the CEO of the defunct Ejapa royalty scheme. MPP never again. You remember Ejapa there? Do you know how much we lost? $12 million to Ejapa. And do you know how much we lost to PDS? $125 million.
These are Jeff Bezos type of people living in this country.
Americans put the money back.
They didn't allow it to come.
Okay.
125 million. 120 million.
The PDS?
Yes. It was a tranche they were supposed to have.
This one says, Kwame 3 times. Kwame, please change that protocol guy out of the yard. He's not going to be changed out. He don't know what he's saying. Francis from BBNE. The way you mention my name 3 times, Good morning, lawyer KOD. Please, why do you not show health walk of NDC that took place in Tamale on your set?
But why must you show?
It was massive, well attended. Congratulations to the organizers. Nana Kwame Tamale. Nana Kwame, Pacho, and NDC station. Good morning to you. The MPP man in the studio is bragging. I personally don't want such people to say that Bawumia will win 2024. Rather, we need to ship such people in Ghana. Ship them from Amos in Asenfo. People vex. I swear by fire. I swear by fire. This LPP should be shown the exit. Oh, Master Osu Jaisa. Oh, what? See what they are doing.
They are calling you.
It's 2 minutes past 10.
The message is plain. Oh, anyway, they lie through their teeth for us to vote for them, but the way things have changed, the things have makes NDC look like saints. All right, KOD, good morning to you. If our leaders think we are overlooking of the selling of state lands to these individuals, they will be tenants soon. Masa, protocol is very sad today. Oh, protocol now. Why you put me on my protocol, man? Don't do that. Uncle Alex, thank you for your time this morning. Proto, next week I'll bring you back.
Yeah,
sure, I like your submission.
Bring you back.
I'll be I like your submission. I was told that protocol wanted to come, and I had not really listened to you, but I think listening to you are very good for the show. So I'll bring you.
The last time I came and participated in this show was 2nd July 2022.
Hey, so you remember?
Yeah, so
I see.
So almost 2 years now. Sorry?
The way you remember the date.
I when I was penciled to come here, I went through my Facebook history and noticed that it was even on a large and a large. So I said,
Master, somebody said I should why you ran from TV3. The person sent the message from Ashaman.
Are you ran from TV3?
No, MPP.
From what?
They said they ran from TV3 or something like that. I don't even know. I don't watch TV3. I only watch Pan-African television. No, please, I'm not doing the bidding of any TV station. If you are watching Pan-Africa, watch Pan-Africa and stick to Pan-African television because it's the station of choice. My name is Kwame OWUSO DANSO. A big thank you to Solomon OWUSO. Thank you, Protocol. Thank you, Honorable Uncle Alex. And thank you to you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. I will see you tomorrow. Do have a very wonderful day. Salute.